So, if your child has recently gotten an intellectual or developmental disability diagnosis here in Dallas County, you're probably feeling like you're staring at a huge mountain of information, just wondering, where do I even start? Well, this explainer is going to cut right through all that noise and give you one simple thing, a clear, solid starting point.
You've got the diagnosis, and now the giant question is, okay, so now what do I do? It is completely, 100% normal to feel overwhelmed, like you've just been dropped in the middle of a maze with no map. But I promise you, you are not alone, and there is a clear path forward.
The support system for IDD services can feel, incredibly complicated. But for now, we're just going to ignore all the confusing side doors and back windows. Our only goal here today is to find the one, single, official front door and get you right through it.
And here it is. In Dallas County, that front door, that main entrance, is an organization called Metrocare Services. Seriously, if you remember absolutely nothing else from this, remember that name, Metrocare. This is your single most important starting point.
Okay, you're going to hear a lot of acronyms and jargon, so let's just demystify the first big one. Metrocare is the official LIDA. That just stands for Local Intellectual and Developmental Disability Authority. All that really means is they're the organization the state has put in charge of coordinating everything, all the services, all the enrollment for everybody in Dallas County. Think of them as the official gatekeepers. They hold the keys.
So what happens when you call them? Well, it's actually a pretty straightforward two-step process. First, you're going to get in touch with their Eligibility and Determination Unit, or EDU. They'll ask you for your child's records, and then they'll schedule an assessment. It's called a Determination of Intellectual Disability, or a DID. This assessment, this is the official key that unlocks your access to the entire system.
Okay, so now you know who to call, let's talk about the why. And I'm not kidding, this next part is, without a doubt, the most urgent and critical piece of information in this whole guide, so listen close. After you get that diagnosis, there is one single thing you need to do right away. I mean immediately, even if you don't need a single service today. This one action can totally change the entire course of your child's future as an adult.
This is why. 17 years. That is the estimated wait time to get into the state's biggest, most comprehensive support programs, which are called waiver programs. And no, that's not a typo. The line is literally decades long.
And this quote just lays out this strategy perfectly. The whole goal is to get your child on these wait lists, they call them interest lists, as soon as humanly possible after that diagnosis. We're talking even as a toddler. The whole idea is that you play the long game, so that by the time they finish school, around age 22, their name is finally getting close to the top of that list.
Now, what's really cool about this is that it busts some major myths. First off, your child does not need to have Medicaid to get on these lists. Big one. Also, you can and you absolutely should get on multiple lists at the same time. And here's the best part. If a spot opens up way before you're ready for it, you can just say, not ready. You don't lose your place in line, you don't get sent to the back. There's zero penalty for planning ahead.
So after all this talk about wait lists that are almost 2 decades long, what exactly are you waiting for? Well, that brings us to the big long-term goal, understanding and eventually getting something called a Medicaid waiver.
Let's break it down. In the simplest terms, a waiver is just a program that pays for long-term support services right there in your own home or your community. The whole point of it is to give people the support they need to live full lives out in the community instead of in some state-run institution. Now, when you call Metrocare, they're going to put you on the lists for these two specific waivers. On the left, you've got HCS. It's the biggest, the most comprehensive one. Its funding is totally based on what an individual needs. On the right is TXHML, which is smaller with a fixed yearly budget. But here is the most important difference, the real takeaway. Only HCS includes funding for residential options, like group homes. And that is a huge distinction when you're planning for the long term. So besides those two that Metrocare manages, there are other really important ones. You've got programs like CLASS, which is for therapies, and MDCP for kids with really significant medical needs. But look closely. Here's the catch. To get on these waitlists, you don't call Metrocare. You have to call the state directly, Texas Health and Human Services, or HHSC. It's a completely separate phone call and a completely separate list.
Okay, I know a 17-year wait can just feel completely defeating. You're probably sitting there thinking, great, but what am I supposed to do for my child right now? Well, the good news is there is help available while you're waiting.
Metrocare offers something called general revenue, or GR services. The best way to think about this is like a safety net. These are state-funded supports you can get your hands on while you're on those long waiver wait lists. We're talking about things like respite care, which gives you, the caregiver, a much-needed break, skills training, and even behavioral supports. Now, the funding is limited, so it's based on need, but it's real, tangible help you can get right now.
All right, let's switch gears to day-to-day healthcare. Another really key program you need to know about is Star Kids. If your child has Medicaid or qualifies for it, they will most likely be enrolled in this. It's basically the managed care program for kids with disabilities. And here in Dallas County, that means your health plan will be run by either Aetna or WellPoint.
And Star Kids covers all the essential stuff. Doctor's visits, specialists, prescription drugs, medical equipment, even getting rides to and from appointments. It also includes this really crucial service called Community First Choice, which can provide in-home help with daily living activities, things like bathing or making meals. This is immediate, practical support.
Wow. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground. So let's pull all of this together into a really simple, really clear action plan that you can use to get started the minute this is over.
Here it is, your first 4 steps. Number 1, call Metrocare and get that DID assessment scheduled. Number 2, on that same call, do not forget this, specifically ask them to add your child to the HCS and the TXMHL interest lists. Number 3, hang up, take a breath, and then make a separate call to the state, to HHSC, to get on those other waiver lists. And number 4, put a reminder in your calendar for the future. The day your child turns 18, you apply for SSI, Supplemental Security Income, to get their own financial eligibility established for all the adult services.
And just to make it even easier, here are the contacts you actually need. Go ahead and take a screenshot of this if you want. For HCS and TXHML, that's the Metrocare number. For all the other state waivers, just dial 211 and ask for the waiver interest list line. And for SSI, you just go straight to the source at ssa.gov.
Look, there's no sugarcoating it. This is a long journey. But what I hope we've shown here is that the journey isn't a mystery. It's a path. And it all begins with one single simple phone call. So the only question left is, are you ready to begin?